After reading this play, I realized that life's conflicts truly haven't changed that much over time, and the conflict between Dionysus and Pentheus is very similar to the political conflicts we see today, and we see the differing in opinions and the differing in leadership. So it's very relevant. What happened in this book back then is now very similar to what we view in politics today. The two values I noticed in the play are the desire for human revenge and the means one will go in order to enact that revenge. And the second value that I found is people's innate fascination with blood and violence and drama and all that stuff. So two quotes that I found were, the first one is when Zeus's wife Hera sets up Semele for having an affair with Zeus and has her killed, and says, "Over here by the house is the marker for my mother's grave where she was struck by thunder. The ruins of her home are still smoking from the living flame of Zeus. That is how angry Hera was at my mother. Violent, deathless rage." And the second one is when Pentheus is killed and is held in his mother's hands, and the quote is, "He kept crying in pain as long as he had breath. They were howling in triumph. Off went one with the forearm, another took his foot with its hunting boot, and his ribs were stripped, flesh torn away. They all had blood on their hands. They tossed Pentheus meat like balls in a game of catch." So I never really understood the dynamic between Hera, Zeus, and Semele. I understood the overall arching theme, but I never understood the specific details about the affair. And after doing a bunch of research and finding stuff on Britannic.com, it appears that Zeus was truly in love with Semele and promised he would do anything for her. And their main goal was protecting their unborn child from Hera after Semele was killed, and it seems as an unspoken promise. I believe that women were used as pawns of power in the struggle between Pentheus and Dionysus. Pentheus acted as women were subjects to him and were forced to respond to his every action, considering he was the king of Thebes, while Dionysus, while he seemed to be having these women be free and be outdoors, he really used them as placeholders in order to get his intent for killing Pentheus. If you Google who the king of rock and roll is, Elvis Presley immediately pops up, and I think he's on the cover of the Buckeye because it allows a younger generation to connect to a Greek mythology that happened way long ago. And like Elvis, Dionysus could have been considered a rock star who was known as the god of wine and ecstasy. My two questions are the following. Pentheus is portrayed as the villain of the story. He views women as slaves and has a very strict idea of how his subjects should live and behave. Is he really a villain or possibly just a king fulfilling his destiny and ruling the only way he has ever known? And my second question is, most of what we see the characters' actions and traits are unappealing and offensive. Do any of these characters have any redeeming qualities?